They're colossal, they're ancient, and they've roamed the earth longer than most predators ever dreamed. On one side, the elephant, nature's bulldozer with brains, brawn, and ivory spears. On the other, the rhinoceros, a tank on legs, with a horn that can gore, shatter, and intimidate. But when these two titans of the wild cross paths, who truly dominates? Is size alone enough to win a fight, or does sheer aggression tip the scales? It's time to find out. This is the ultimate heavyweight clash. Elephant versus rhinoceros, who's the real ruler of the African plains? In the vast open landscapes of Africa, two land giants cast massive shadows, both physically and symbolically. The African elephant and the rhinoceros aren't just the continent's largest herbivores, they're walking legends. Revered in ancient lore, feared by predators and admired by wildlife lovers, these animals rarely meet in battle. But if they did, who would come out on top? At first glance, it seems obvious. Elephants are bigger, heavier, and smarter. But rhinos are no pushovers. With armor-thick skin, a deadly horn, and a notoriously short fuse, they've been known to charge without warning, even at vehicles and lions. This matchup is more than just mass versus might. It's a contest of evolutionary design. In this wild showdown, we'll pit tusks against horn, strategy against brute force, and size against ferocity. Along the way, we'll uncover how these mega-herbivores have evolved to dominate their environments in completely different ways. Here's what we're tackling. Who has the physical edge? Height, weight, and weaponry. How do their behaviors and temperaments influence real-world confrontations? And if push came to shove, who would likely back down or go all in? Let's start by sizing up these giants with the raw physical data. Let's talk numbers, because when two living tanks square off, the stats matter. First up, the African elephant. These behemoths can weigh up to 14,000 pounds, stand over 10 feet tall at the shoulder, and stretch nearly 25 feet long from trunk tip to tail. That's about the size of a small school bus, alive, moving, and capable of flipping over trees like toys. Their massive tusks, which are actually elongated incisors, can grow over 10 feet long and weigh over 100 pounds each. And while they may look slow, elephants can charge at up to 25 mph, fast enough to ruin your day if you're in the way. Now meet the rhinoceros, smaller, but by no means less dangerous. The white rhino, the largest of the species, clocks in at around 5,000 to 6,000 pounds and stands just over 6 feet tall at the shoulder. Not quite elephant-sized, but still a force to be reckoned with. Their defining weapon, that brutal horn made of keratin, the same stuff as your hair and nails, which can reach lengths of 3 to 5 feet. Don't be fooled by their bulk, rhinos. Can hit 30 meteors in a full charge, making them deceptively fast and deadly at close range. When it comes to body design, elephants are tall and broad, with a center of mass evenly distributed across 4 pillar-like legs, giving them stability and leverage. Rhinos, on the other hand, are front-loaded, with enormous muscle mass around the shoulders and neck, perfect for ramming and pushing. As for endurance, elephants can roam for miles with little rest, thanks to their efficient stride and heat-dissipating ears. Rhinos are built for shorter bursts of activity, less marathoner, more sprinter. And then there's agility. Neither animal is built for tight turns, but elephants, with their superior limb control and flexible trunk, can adapt quicker in shifting terrain. Rhinos? They're more about forward momentum and brute impact. So if we're measuring pure physical dominance, weight, height, reach, the elephant clearly takes the crown. But raw size isn't everything. Up next, we ask, how do these traits translate into behavior? Because in the wild, attitude can be just as powerful as anatomy. Though both elephants and rhinos roam the African plains and consume massive quantities of vegetation, their impact on the environment is strikingly different. Elephants are true ecosystem engineers. These gentle giants don't just survive in their environment, they reshape it. Using their trunks and tusks, elephants tear down trees, dig up roots, and even create water holes by excavating dry riverbeds with surprising precision. Their movements can open up entire landscapes, allowing sunlight to reach the ground and creating grazing areas for smaller herbivores. In many ways, elephants act like massive four-legged bulldozers, restructuring the ecosystem with every step. Rhinos, in contrast, play a quieter, though still important, role. They're more restricted in range, often sticking to grasslands and savannas near water sources. While they don't knock over trees or dig rivers, they do shape plant life through selective grazing and territorial marking. Rhinos are more solitary, with individual males defending strict territories. Their presence impacts how other species use the space, but they don't leave the large-scale marks elephants do. So while both influence their habitats, elephants are the grand architects, rhinos, the territorial caretakers. In terms of behavior, the contrast couldn't be sharper. Elephants are deeply social animals, living in tightly bonded herds led by wise, experienced matriarchs. These matriarchs guide the group using emotional intelligence, memory, and learned behavior. Daily routines include long migrations for food and water, playful interactions, and constant communication through touch, sound, and even seismic signals. They protect each other, raise young communally, and mourn their dead. This emotional depth fuels their ability to coordinate in the face of danger and avoid unnecessary conflict whenever possible. Rhinos, on the flip side, prefer isolation. Outside of mothers with calves or temporary breeding pairs, rhinos are lone rangers. Their temperament? Best described as moody, short-fused, and intensely territorial. A rustle in the grass or unfamiliar scent can trigger a bluff charge, or a real one. With poor eyesight but sharp senses of smell and hearing, they rely on instinct more than strategy, and that instinct leans toward confrontation when startled. So, who's more likely to de-escalate? Elephants are the diplomats of the savanna. Rhinos? Let's just say they bring the fight before asking questions. But when survival's at stake, adaptations matter just as much as attitude. So next, let's examine the evolutionary weapons these giants wield. When it comes to weaponry, neither of these giants comes unarmed. Let's start with the rhinoceros. That massive horn, sometimes two, is made of keratin, the same protein found in your nails. But don't let that fool you. This isn't some decorative ornament. Rhinos use their horns like battering rams, stabbing tools, and even shovels. In fights with other rhinos or threats like lions, they lower their heads and charge full force. A well-placed thrust can impale, gore, or send an attacker flying. And since they often fight over territory or mates, they've evolved thick skin around the neck and shoulders to survive brutal clashes. Elephants, on the other hand, bring both brawn and brains to the battlefield. Their tusks, elongated incisors made of ivory, are capable of piercing, lifting, and even skewering enemies. But the real ace up their sleeve is the trunk. With over 40,000 muscles, this multi-tool can slam, grab, or throw with surprising precision. Elephants don't just push, they manipulate. Whether fending off predators or asserting dominance, they combine force with finesse, making their arsenal as intelligent as it is intimidating. But raw weaponry only tells part of the story. Let's now look at how these titans strategize when survival is on the line. Elephants are the tacticians of the savanna. Living in tight-knit herds led by experienced matriarchs, they rely on coordination, memory, and defensive formation. When threatened, they circle their young and raise trunks in synchronized trumpets, part warning, part intimidation. This isn't chaos, it's choreography. They'll charge as a unit, scatter strategically, or block access points. That combination of emotional intelligence and battlefield awareness makes elephants hard to ambush, and even harder to defeat. Rhinos, by contrast, prefer raw psychological warfare. With poor eyesight but razor-sharp hearing and scent, they often bluff charge, intruders stopping just feet away. But if you call their bluff, be ready to run. When committed, rhinos are freight trains of fury, delivering short explosive bursts of speed to trample or gore threats. Their skin is tough like armor, but their aggression is their real shield. They don't plan, they bulldoze. So who's tougher? Elephants are more durable and strategic, using intelligence and numbers. Rhinos, more impulsive but dangerously effective in solo encounters. One uses the chessboard, the other flips it. Coming up next, let's break down each animal's core, strengths, and imagine what might happen if these two titans ever actually squared off. Let's start with the elephant, nature's living fortress. Their most obvious advantage? Size and weight. An adult bull elephant can easily outweigh a rhino by more than 2-to-1, giving it massive leverage in any physical confrontation. This sheer mass allows elephants to shove, trample, or pin an opponent without needing to rely on speed. Then there's intelligence. Elephants are considered among the most intelligent land animals on Earth, capable of problem-solving, emotional memory, and even cooperation. In a conflict scenario, that brain power becomes a weapon. Elephants use their environment to their advantage, blocking paths, using obstacles, even leveraging terrain. Add to that their remarkable communication system, low-frequency rumbles that coordinate herd responses from miles away, and you've got a socially bonded, battle-ready team. And don't underestimate the tusks and trunk combo. A well-aimed tusk can gore through thick rhino hide, while the trunk allows for precise manipulation and forceful strikes. All of this, combined with endurance and patience, makes the elephant a strategic juggernaut. But even juggernauts have rivals, and that's where the rhino storms in. The rhinoceros may be smaller, but don't confuse less with weaker. Rhinos are built like biological battering rams, designed for one thing: overwhelming frontal assault. Their horn isn't just a display, it's a deadly tool that's been used in countless territorial fights. Rhinos have been observed goring other rhinos, flipping lions, and even piercing metal when provoked. Rhinos also have a key edge in acceleration and aggression. While elephants need time to build momentum, rhinos can reach their top speed of 30 mph in just a few strides, meaning they're fast, furious, and unrelenting. And unlike elephants, rhinos don't give warning signs. If they feel threatened, they act immediately. That unpredictability can put even larger animals on the defensive. What rhinos lack in intellect, they make up for in pure muscle and determination. Their thick hide, up to 2 inches in places, is like flexible armor, allowing them to take hits and keep charging. Combine that with their solitary nature and instinct to dominate, and you've got a wild card that doesn't back down. In a one-on-one clash, if the elephant keeps its distance and uses reach and intelligence, it likely wins. But if the rhino closes that gap and lands the first charge, the outcome becomes a lot more dangerous. Now let's tally it all up and see who really rules the plains. So who really rules the plains? Africa's armored tank or its walking fortress? Let's break it down. In terms of size and reach, the elephant is unmatched. We're talking about an animal that can weigh over 13,000 pounds and stand taller than an SUV. Its tusks are weapons, tools, and signals of dominance. Its trunk, a Swiss Army knife of survival. Combine that with endurance, intelligence, and coordination, and you've got a creature that's hard to outmatch in any scenario. The rhinoceros, though smaller, is far from outclassed. What it lacks in strategic finesse, it makes up for in raw explosive power. That keratin horn isn't just for show, it's a serious threat, especially when paired with short burst speed and a temperament that flips from 0 to charge in seconds. Rhinos are aggressive, armored, and utterly fearless. But here's the catch. Real-life encounters between these two mega-herbivores are extremely rare. They tend to inhabit overlapping but not identical ranges, and elephants often avoid unnecessary conflict. When they do meet, the elephant's superior size, endurance, and tactical awareness usually tip the scales in its favor. So, the final verdict? The elephant takes the crown, not just because it's bigger, but because it's smarter, more versatile, and built for long-term survival in a changing world. But hey, let's not shut the debate down just yet. What if it wasn't a full-grown bull elephant, but a younger male squaring off with an alpha rhino at peak aggression? Could brute force overpower size and strategy in that case? Drop your theories in the comments. We want to hear who you think would win in the wild's most colossal clash. So we've settled who rules the land. But what about the rivers? Up next, hippo versus crocodile, River King Showdown. One's a territorial tank with jaws that can crush bone. The other? A stealthy reptile with prehistoric killing instincts. Who really owns the water? And before you go, here's a question to chew on. Would you rather face a charging rhino or a stampeding elephant? Think fast, you might only get one chance either way. Drop your pick in the comments, because we're reading every wild theory and bold opinion. And if you love high-stakes animal battles, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. You won't want to miss the next epic clash. You've seen brute strength, strategy, and survival play out on the plains. Next, we're diving deep into the deadliest waters on Earth. Ready to get wet?